standing in front of, or the vehicle I'm standing in front of, appears to be a 1959 Volkswagen Bus. And technically, it is. See, this was designed by our old friend Randy Grubb. Randy did my tank car, and we've seen a bunch of his creations on this program. This is one of his more subtle modifications. Randy is kind of an automotive performance artist, I guess you'd say. He does rolling sculptures that actually work and drive, and this is his latest one. Very subtle for Randy. I'm a bit surprised. Let's find out about it. Randy, come in here, my friend. Good to see you. It's been about 4 or 5 years since you've been here.
2 blinks of the eye, huh, Jay?
Yeah. I mean, this one, the more I look at it, the more I realize how much modification has been done. But this is more the subtle Randy, not so over the top.
It doesn't have a tank motor. It's not 2 stories tall. Right. I know.
Right. But I like it. I like it. It's cool. So tell us what we have here. Am I correct? Are we starting with a 59 VW?
Yeah, we actually started with a 59 VW, but even I'm not silly enough to cut up a real 23. So it actually started as an 11 window.
Right. Okay.
And now you can buy the roof kits to convert them to this awesome configuration with the big sunroof and all the top lights.
Oh, that's interesting. So what you're saying is we're going to be seeing a lot of Volkswagens that did not leave the factory as 23 windows.
You know, as the value of things increase, we attract more aftermarket vendors.
Right.
And right now, believe it or not, you can buy every single panel to build one of these from new material.
Wow.
So it's amazing what the aftermarket has offered.
Well, I guess that's good and bad. I feel sorry for the people that get fooled to go to an auction and think they're buying an original 23 window when it was just a regular.
That's right.
Plain Jane, yeah.
So you got to look for those VIN numbers because there's a big difference, like you say, between the true original originals. And I'm not making any claims that this was a real 23. It wasn't. It was an 11 because that was an affordable place to start.
Plus, you've got, there's not going to be any VIN number on that engine. Tell us the engine you have in this thing.
You know, I like the hot rod. Yours, you got tank motor and 1,000 horsepower.
Sure,
I have a little propensity for a little more power.
Right.
And these old original buses, you occasionally had to get out and push.
Right.
You know, so we actually have a 160 horsepower Subaru Boxer in this thing now, which is a really great conversion, very popular.
Yeah, that's a very popular conversion. That's almost the Chevy V8, the 55 Chevy kind of thing in the Volkswagen world.
You nailed it, Jay.
Yeah,
Yep. It's the hot thing to do. They bolt in. It gives you such an advantage because rather than maybe 60 horsepower, now we're up to 160 horsepower. So it's great.
Well, let's start with, and for anybody else, it would be a major modification. For you, it's sort of subtle. Tell us what we've done here. Now, obviously, the most striking is the rear of the vehicle here.
Yes.
This doesn't in any. This more resembles a. Bernard has a bus. What is his?
The Flexible.
Flexible. This looks like a 1949 Flexible from the back.
I'm a big fan of the early Airstream trailers, and before Airstream it was Bolus, and they built these beautiful trailers with this type of treatment. And I'm just such a fan of the overlapping panels. Remember my decopods with the overlapping panels. So I just love this whole aesthetic. So this bus is kind of a mashup between a vintage Volkswagen and a vintage Airstream trailer.
Well, let's take a look. Now, did you manufacture these taillights or are these off of something?
Well, you know, I find a shape that I like, then I give it to my sand caster, and we cast them out of aluminum so that we can match our patinas and have everything polished aluminum. So it's about scaling and finding the piece that really speaks to balance the sculpture. It's all about a sculpture to me. Right. So normally there would be another square window here, just like this one. So we remove that one, and this window is kind of designed to look like a VW Bug rear quarter window. It's a little bit bigger, but that's the aesthetic, and we're starting. So we wanted to bring the piece together and create this flowing back tail section that would be reminiscent of one of the vintage Airstream trailers. Now this treatment is the exact same treatment that I did on my Magic bus, the 2-story bus with the VW on top. And so I was up top polishing the top VW one day, and I just thought, man, this is such a cool piece. I want one that I can drive. So we did it again, and it's got a very similar tail treatment, as I said, to the one on the Magic bus. So that was the inspiration. Yep.
Now the wheelbase is unaltered.
Unaltered, completely original. Yep. And we've only added maybe about less than 10 inches to the overall length.
Right, okay.
And it's in the rounded section of the tail. Right. So I was a little concerned the sculpture might get a little too long and become out of balance, but I was thrilled that it wasn't. It looks great.
So it's now water cooled, so radiators go here. I can feel the heat.
Yes, yes. Actually, we have a radiator underneath right now, and we get a lot of air that way. But I think it can be tidied up a little bit, and I'm going to work to hide it a little more.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you want to move towards the front or stay at the back? Where do you want to?
Well, the back is one of the really great features, and this is what makes it a Randy Grubb original. Is this aluminum on the back?
Right.
But the front, I mean, when I was in junior high school, one of my very best friend's mother drove a 23 window combi just like this. So that's where I discovered the beautiful big sunroof. The sunroof is enormous in these things. One of the biggest sunroofs I think ever made. So it's a lot of fun, and the fact that we've got these crazy tilt out windshields up front. And
that's all stock.
That is a stock option. It was very rare, but they were the safari windows, and of course we just had to add them to the sculpture.
Now, did this bus come with those windows? You added those?
No, I added those because that's a very rare option, and the original 11 didn't have it. Nope.
Yeah, that's pretty neat though. I always like having a windshield that opens. Cars from the 30s. You know, the speed limit was 45 or 50. It was a nice thing to have because you got a nice breeze. Obviously, as things went to 75, 80 miles an hour, you just got to be a little crazy.
Absolutely. But before air conditioning, that was the way to get a lot of air.
Now, I imagine you upgraded the brakes.
Absolutely. We've got everything state of the art. So rather than the 59 link pin front end, we've got a ball joint front end, which would be like 1969, which is going to handle a lot better. We've converted to Willwood disc brakes. We actually have a rack and pinion that they make for this thing.
Oh, okay.
So instead of the old buses that you really had to chase going down the road, this thing actually drives much more like a new car.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Well, let's open up and see what you've done inside here. Oh, well, here you go. You've got your book out.
Well, I can't help but plug that.
No, but it's cool. This has got, well, let's show some of the vehicles. There are more in here. You brought about 4 or 5 to us here. Well, there's my tank car. People remember that thing.
That was the one that really put me on the map. And selling that to Jay Leno was the best thing I ever did.
Oh, no, that was good. That was fun. I still have it. It's a lot of fun. And then, of course, the deco pods. Those are one of my favorites. Have you built any more of those? Or just those
Nope.
2?
The edition was finished. I did my 6, and I moved on. And I didn't take your advice to make a whole lot and get rich.
No. But I love those. Those are great fun to drive. And then, of course, the deco liner.
The deco liner with the driving station on the roof doesn't get any sillier.
Yeah, that was pretty wild too, and that actually worked, and that was fun driving that one. And then what else did? Well, we did Pissed Off Pete.
Pissed Off Pete with the big 12 V71 Detroit diesel, that 2-stroke screaming machine. That was cool.
I think that probably got the most hits of almost just about, other than my own, the original tank car. I think that one's probably the biggest. But there's a lot more vehicles in here too. Where can people get a copy of this?
Well, you can get it on eBay. Just type in From Mind to Metal by Randy Grubb.
There you go.
It's readily available. It has all my work in it and some beautiful, beautiful photographs.
Yeah, well, there's the, here you go. There's the one he was talking about before. Well, very cool. Well, we got that out of the way. Let's tell us about the inside. The seat treatment here is there. Let's show people what we're talking about. Go ahead.
Well, the seats are pretty neat in that this is about a party wagon and given lots of room so that people can sit down and enjoy themselves. And the way we did that was with spinning the seats around. This is kind of a rare thing. Volkswagen did offer this on some of the delivery seats.
Oh, I see.
It was kind of rare, but it would help the delivery guy swing around and get into the back to get his load out so he didn't have to go out the door, walk around. But what a great thing for a camper. This allows us, and the other one spins too. Let me spin it around for you.
Why would the driver want to spin around? That doesn't really
Here again, so that he could get into the back seat to get the load, whatever he was delivering.
Yeah.
So now we're set up to sit down and have a good time.
So now, it's in case you have a conference or something.
Well, exactly.
You can have a conference room.
Absolutely. Would you step into my office, sir?
Yeah, there you go. Now, I remember this carpet from the Jack Nicholson movie, The Trip, back in 1969, some kind of LSD movie. This looks extremely familiar to me. And there's all kinds of room in here. You can Yeah.
That's the fun part.
There you are. Yeah, there you go.
Beats the heck out of sitting in a lawn chair.
And let's open that sunroof.
Oh, heck yeah, a little area.
How much?
A lot of people don't know that the Samba sunroofs were this big.
Yeah, these are,
massive. So when I was designing and building the Magic Bus, the client told me, well, we're going to be doing a lot of drinking. Well, the idea of the deco liner, as you recall, that upper driving station, the rails were quite low.
Right.
And if you got a little tipsy, well, you could tip right out of the thing.
Right.
So I'm concerned. A lot of people don't think that when I build with no regard for safety or sanity. And I understand that when I build things that you can drive from the roof and all these crazy things. But just as proud as I am to say I built the car that Jay Leno has, I take the functionality of my pieces really high. Really, it's the highest thing in my mind, because Jay Leno's going to be driving my car, and I don't want to say I built the car that killed Jay Leno.
Right, but I think high is the key, the highest thing. Yeah, I think that's really the key.
So that's why we went with this particular piece on the Magic Bus. It was a way to corral the people in and stop them from falling out, even if they'd had a little bit to drink.
And it just seems like there should be go-go girls doing this, as you're going down the freeway. It just has that sort of feel. That sort of 1969 feel to it. And this is a camper bed, too.
It does. That's the really cool thing about this. This thing just pulls straight out.
Oh, there you are.
And converts.
Isn't that amazing?
Into the bed. So
makes hundreds of julienne fries.
So, if the buses are rocking, don't bother knocking.
That's right. Ordinary campers are a pain. Oh, you can't fit, you can't move. But the Randy Grubb camper. Oh yeah, I mean you're always very clever, very imaginative. It's really interesting.
But can I get them out of a denim shirt and into a tie-dye? That is the real question.
That's going to take some doing. Yeah, okay. And this is still sort of a work in progress, isn't it?
It is. We just had the piece finished. We had it at SEMA last week. We only had 25 miles on it.
Right.
And so we brought it down here, and we've been driving around the LA freeways a little bit, fighting the traffic at 75, 80 miles an hour, and it's still working.
Let's take a look at the engine. I think people would get a kick out of seeing that.
Absolutely.
Step out of here. Oh, and you got this step bar down here too.
Sure.
Which was not. That's
not an original, but it sure looks cool.
Did Volkswagen ever make a step bar?
It was an option. They made some pretty cool options. Yep. This one goes first.
Right. Lock that in.
Yep.
And I like that you've chosen a period correct color combination. You didn't go with this look on the outside. I think, yeah.
Believe it or not, one of the things I'm planning on doing with this bus, I really like interacting with the kids.
Right.
So we're going to wrap it in clear from here down. And when I go to the shows, we're going to have poster paints. We'll have the kids help me paint flowers on the side of my bus.
Oh, okay.
Then we can hose it off afterwards.
Cool.
So,
very cool. All right, let's take a look at the engine.
All right. So actually, we get to the engine from inside here because
this doesn't open.
No.
Okay.
No, we're now Type 3.
I'm glad you brought me out here.
Yeah. Figured you'd need the exercise. A little walking around.
That's convenient to check the oil. Oh, there we are. Yeah.
There we are. So that Boxer Subaru, we just have an adapter, a Kennedy adapter. We bolt the Subaru right up.
Well, it looks like you got plenty of room.
That's the fun thing. I mean, the 2.5 liter Subaru really fits great, and it's such a tried and true way to go. It's just foolproof.
Yeah, this has become, like you said, a very common swap. Almost every Speedster replica I've seen, the fiberglass ones, they use the Subaru motor, and the people love it.
It's far more cost effective. The cost to build a 100 horsepower plus Volkswagen motor is huge.
Right. Yeah, this is nice. I see how much you've added there to the...
Yeah, so it gives us a little more storage room. I'm thinking about making a storage box back there for some of the heavier camping items like, the table and the barbecue and things like that.
Right, but that'd make a little tail heavy, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know. We're so light already.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be bad. We can add a few pounds.
Very cool, very cool. Don't put any chocolates in it with that ruffle there. Well, nicely done. All right, very cool.
Thank you, Jay.
All right. Hey, man, stop your war machine. Suddenly it's 1969.
There you go.
Now the front looks totally stock. Am I correct, or am I missing something?
Very much so, Jay. But it's so great. I mean, the tilt-out Samba windshields.
I love that's my favorite thing.
It's so cool.
So many cars in the 20s and 30s had that. I've got an old Citroen Traction that had that. That's great. Now this looks is this you or is that factory?
That's factory with our tilt-out windshield.
Oh, of course.
We got a way to get the windshield wipers out of the way. And look at how cool this is. This little plastic rubber thing holds the windshield wiper.
Right.
Then you rotate it over and you engage it. And
oh,
now,
I see.
And now it's functional windshield wipers.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So if it starts to rain, we only have to hop out for a second to
right.
do that.
You only have to get out for a second to engage the wipers. That's the beautiful thing. You know, in the pouring rain, you just have to get out and do this while you have your umbrella. Yeah, no, cool.
It's perfect. It's
no, it is. No, it is. It's very clever. I love see, I like when I can always tell what something used to be. I hate cars that are so modified. Really, that was a 49 Studebaker? Really, I can't. You know, I like this. The front coming at you, it looks stock. Was this chrome that big in '59?
It actually was. Most of them were painted white.
Oh, that's what it is.
So they were much subtler.
That's what it was.
Yep,
Yeah. But I like that. It looks okay.
That's the original size. That giant Volkswagen emblem.
Very American.
Yeah.
Well, can we take it for a ride?
Why not? Let's go.
We'll give it a shot.
Cool. Let's spin the seats around.
Yeah.
That'll make it easier.
Let's go get some vegan lunch. Yeah. What am I hearing? Electric fuel pump?
Yes.
Woodstock, here we come. Oh, it really makes it nice to drive with the extra power. It's not crazy power.
Right.
It just feels sensible power.
It's functional power. You know?
Yeah.
That's what it's about. I mean, because in this day and age, you can't be plugging down the freeway at 40, 45. You're going to be a danger.
Yeah.
So.
Now, what would have gone here? Radio speaker?
Yeah. There's the radio delete little block off thing.
That was my favorite thing in the older cars. Radio just to show how cheap you were.
Exactly.
Or they put the clock face with no hands on it, to show that you didn't care what time it was.
Yeah. And of course, back in the day when we actually smoked in our cars, and smoking was a big thing. Little cigarette box.
Like with the windshield opens.
Yeah. The ash is blowing in your face.
You know, I got that 58 Lincoln in there, and that has 5 ashtrays and 5 lighters. So everybody, people just smoking constantly. And the rear window opens. That was the smoke window. So the smoke would go out the back.
Stained yellow from all the nicotine.
Oh, God, horrible thing. Actually, the side mirrors are quite good, actually.
It's not bad, is it?
No. When I was standing back there, it didn't look like you could even see them, but...
I think a rear view mirror, little monitor would be great. But
yeah.
And you don't have to worry about anybody stealing it, because in this day and age, nobody knows how to drive a stick or drive with mirrors.
Right.
So, so I'm thinking about doing a small edition of these, Jay. Like my Decopods, I did 6 of them. Each one was unique and different.
Right.
I'd love to do a little series of these, a little bit different treatment. I think a vertical stabilizer coming off the middle of the aluminum with a tail light up top would be hilarious.
Yeah, like the top shot.
Exactly. And I was a little concerned at SEMA that the Volkswagen aficionados would be burning my effigy in the parking lot.
But
no, they were very receptive and a lot of thumbs up. And some of the guys, of course, the real purists, it wasn't their cup of tea. But,
well, I understand. I mean, people think, oh, you're taking something original. But like you say, you could build one of these almost from scratch with new panels.
Yep.
Like 32 Fords, there aren't anymore. So you get the fiberglass.
Exactly.
Now, would you say this is your most practical vehicle to date?
By far.
Yeah.
By far. It was funny, all last year when people were asking me, gee, what are you building, Randy? I'd say, oh, nothing, because it hardly even counts.
Right.
Without 1,000 horsepower.
I think this would be one of the most popular things. Only because it's so usable.
Yeah, exactly. That was the name of the game with this piece.
Distinctive enough, but...
And, everybody likes your tank car, but it's also kind of scary. And where would you park it? And what are you going to do?
And it's so hot.
Exactly.
Like in the dead of winter when it's freezing, I'm driving with shirt sleeves because there's so much heat coming off them. People go, wow, look at that macho guy. Yes. I'm laughing at the cold. You know, I'm actually burning up. You actually can't drive it in the summer. You'll pass out. There's so much heat.
Well, I think this is neat because I think most guys can picture one of these in their garage, and they can, you know, picture their family enjoying something like this.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
So if you need a real crazy bus like this, just look me up and give me a call.
Is this chassis used in any other? Obviously, you can't make one of these from a Volkswagen Bug chassis and frame.
Well,
if you lengthen the frame, I imagine you could.
The beautiful thing about the Volkswagen is the front end and rear end and the transmission, they're modular. And
that's right. Yeah.
So like I said, we unbolted the link pin 59 front end, and we got a 69 with the ball joints and the much better suspension, and just bolted it right in.
Right.
So now the only question is, the problem with our 160 horsepower is the thing really goes. So now we're looking into some sway bars and some way to make it handle a little bit better.
Right.
So, because with all the power, it's kind of, you can go 70, 80 miles an hour in this thing.
Right.
Well, at 70, 80 miles an hour, it's kind of like a soap bubble. It's kind of, it's got a little...
Just making a more balanced package.
Exactly.
When we were kids, you just put the biggest engine in, and you try to go as fast as you could, with no sense of stopping or going around corners. Well, now everybody wants to have a balanced package.
Well, you know, the Subarus, of course, are available in a turbocharged WRX, and they can build up to 400 horsepower. And I had no interest in that because that would just be ridiculous.
Right. It doesn't appear overgeared to me. Seems fine.
You don't think we could use a little taller gear?
Was that the actual speed we're going?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're in fourth.
Right.
At 40, and it seems like maybe I'd rather be in third and be able to grab one more gear.
I'm stunned that Randy has built a sensible vehicle. This is
it's so unlike me, isn't it?
I know. I don't know whether you're high when you build this one or high when you build the other one.
That's the beauty, Jay. I'm always high. That's the great part.
I never knew we were stoned until I saw him sober.
Thanks, Jay.
Boy, you can take this thing anywhere.
It's really functional, isn't it? And that's so easy.
The absence of power with the original bus, not only annoyingly slow, it's dangerously slow.
Yes, exactly. But still got a really kind of funky, dunky old feel, you know, with a funny shifter and the big steering wheel.
But actually, it's certainly much more stable than the original.
I think the shifter rod might be a little bent. It twists, and I think that's affecting the shifting a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit of...
What's the screwdriver here?
That's actually to open the gas door. There's a special tool that rests right there. And I don't know what happened to it.
Is that a factory tool?
Yes. Yeah, it's a factory tool.
Rather than just a key?
Yeah, it's a funny little square thing, a wedged square. And you put it in the... Yeah.
Better than any Volkswagen has a right to, I suppose.
Well, you know, the functionality of the pieces is always paramount to me.
Yeah.
They got to look great, but they also got to work great.
Right.
And that's really what I love about you, Jay. Your pieces work. You know, you don't mind putting disc brakes on a Bugatti because you need the thing to stop.
Yeah, you got to be able to drive it. What's the average build time on a project? Is it a year?
Jay, you know, it's a serious medical condition. You know, I put 5,000 to 6,000 hours in a project, but I do it in 18 months. None of the projects have taken longer than 18 months from drawing to driving. So when you do the math on that, you know, you really wonder. But I look at it this way: your normal work year is 2,000 hours.
Right.
All you got to be willing to do is work 2 10-hour days on the weekend.
Right.
And you pick up another 1,000 hours.
That's right.
So now we're 3,000 hour year. So people wonder how I can get, you know, 4,000 or 5,000 hours in a project in such a short period of time.
Now, do you ever do 2 projects at the same time?
Absolutely not.
No,
it's the OCD. It won't let me. My mind runs in these circles. So every night I'm solving the problems of the day before, or letting the problem from the day before marinate for a day or 2 before I come back to it. And it's amazing how the mental marination of a problem, it can solve subliminally and subconsciously, actually in your sleep.
Right.
And so no, 1 project at a time, from start to finish, completely with these 2 hands. I've got no employees. I've got a buddy that helps me with the upholstery, sewing my seats for me. And on this piece, Jeff painted it for me. So, you know, I like a minimal amount of help.
Yeah. Does your wife kick in and help do on some of these things?
Jeanette's a sweetheart. She's out in the shop every morning putting away tools so that I can make a bigger mess that day.
Damn, there you are.
And it saves a lot. If I don't have to go back and clean up the mess behind me, I can just continue going forward and, you know, letting the dust settle where it may. And
right.
So I'm a lucky guy. I mean, what would Mavis say if, you know, you came home and said, I'm going to spend our life saving on this crazy project, but don't worry, it's going to be fine.
Have you ever started one and just have to scrap it because you couldn't complete it, or it was too much, or you know what I'm saying?
Luckily, I can say no to that. You know, I always start with a clean sheet of paper, and it all starts with a good design.
Right.
These aren't accidents. We have to plan things out carefully. Because at the end of the day, it's really about the balance of the sculpture.
Right.
You know, most people that would take a tank motor would be just happy to hook it up to something and drive any old thing. Well, in my mind, that's a contraption.
Right.
It's not a beautiful sculpture.
Right.
So there's a difference, and that's why I don't call myself a hot rod builder. I call myself an automotive artist.
Right.
Because I look at things a little bit differently.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah, of course, it's the tail on this thing that really makes it a Randy Grubb sculpture.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people at SEMA said, you know, why did you do that? And, you know, well, otherwise it would just be another bus. And nothing against another bus, but you know my style, Jay. I like to go boldly where no man has gone before.
That's right, there you are.
And I can't believe it's been almost over 15 years since we sold you the tank car.
More than 15.
Yeah, I know, it's been more than 15 years, Jay. Two blinks of the eye. Well, as a glass artist that came out of nowhere, boy, selling that car to you really put me on the map.
Well,
you know, there was a lot of question before you bought it. At the Grand National Roadster Show where I debuted the piece, and we won the Chip Foose Excellence in Design Award for the piece, I could walk up behind people and hear what they were saying. And there was a lot of question whether this thing was super cool or just ridiculous. You know, they would talk about, well, what would you do with it? Well, I drive it. Well, where would you drive it? Anywhere.
Right.
You know, so there was a lot of, you could see them wrestling with the idea because it was such a mold breaker. No one had seen something of this scale.
Right.
So it was a real departure. And then when you bought it, that was the thumbs up, where it was universally agreed that if Jay bought it, it had to be cool.
So it works for me. I'll take it. It is so unaerodynamic. You just feel, when you feel the wind, you put your foot in a little bit more. But with this engine, it doesn't make a difference. But with the 30 horse, it must be just, oh my God, every time there's a crosswind, you just slow down 5 miles an hour.
It has all the aerodynamics of a brick.
Yeah, it is, yeah. But I suppose when it was built, the top speed was 50 maybe, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Aerodynamics didn't even play a part in it.
Nope. They didn't plan that these would be around in 50 years after they were made, and that we'd need to be dicing through LA traffic at 75 to 80 miles an hour. Yeah, so we debuted the piece last week at SEMA with just 25 miles on it. We headed out to SEMA with it.
Did you drive it to SEMA?
No, we trailered.
Oh, you did?
Because with only 25 miles, you know, we thought, so after we got back from SEMA, we brought it out of the box, so we've been driving around LA the whole time. So, and see now, gee whiz, a couple hundred miles. Wow.
I've almost doubled the mileage.
Wow, we're doing great.
What was the top speed in this back in the day? not the harbinger of a sensible era in the Randy Grubb. This is just a minor blip, getting something sensible and reasonable to drive. Because usually the stuff is so outrageous. But I like this. This is one of my favorites because you can actually sort of drive, and you see people, they look and they go, what? And then they look again. So, you know, it's more subtle than the earlier. This is I guess we're in the Randy Grubb subtle period.
There you go. There you go.
After you die and they go over the work, like they do with the great artists.
It'll be a whole new phase.
Right, there you go, the subtle phase.
Well, Jay, it's always fun to come visit you. I always have a great time.
Well, we love having you. You know, we've still got a lot of stuff we haven't seen yet, so we'll, there you go.
And if you need a copy of the book, it's Mind to Metal. Just type it into eBay, it'll pop right up. Be a lot of fun, guaranteed to make you laugh.
Now tell us about some of the vehicles you haven't had at our garage.
We've seen most of them at your show, of course. The ones that haven't come to this shop are, one of my favorites is my Falconer Dodici. You saw it at the Quail Launch show.
Right.
And that one features the 650 horsepower Ryan Falconer 12 stack injected V12. It's just awesome. Right. Inspired by the 1937 Delahaye Type 145.
Right.
One of my real favorites. And then the last piece that I just finished was my Magic Bus that had the Devco milk truck with one of these buses stacked on the roof.
Right.
And it featured the elevator to get you up to the upper floor. Completely ridiculous. Cool. Yeah, of course, at your show we had the Pissed Off Pete, we had the Deco Liner.
Right.
And of course we had a lot of fun buzzing around in the Deco Pods that day.
Yeah, I love the Deco Pods. Those are great fun. Well, Randy, thanks for coming, my friend. Always a pleasure to see you.
Jay, we'll see you next time.
All kinds of things come out of Grand Pass, Oregon.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.